near Seneca, New York. Right in the wilderness of it all lies the legend that is Watkins Glen International, the semi-final of season number 6 of Thursday Night Thunder. Aiden Norman and Noah Belleville will lead us to the line, and we're going to see just who has the steel to make it through today's race in one solid piece. It is a treacherous racetrack today. Aiden Norman looks to sweep up his second straight championship, becoming the first driver to do so. The green flag will fly at Watkins Glen. 50 laps of racing. Let's go racing. Belleville leads Norman, the defending Thursday Night Thunder champion, currently rolling. In the second position, Noah Belleville, well outside of the top 20 in points. Not even a full-time driver, but with, I think, 1 or 2 wins. We'll check the list here. Norman already early on the attack, tries to weave around Belleville, sends it into the penultimate corner. Contact! There goes Belleville, there goes Norman, and behind them all, Toby Estes in the Dale Jr. Budweiser Chevrolet sneaks into second. Awesome opening lap at the Glen. Have another look at these two. Well, let's have a look at Toby Estes first. Matter of fact, let's ride along with the Bluegrass Bandit and see what a lap looks like. One minute, 20 seconds later, Toby Estes completes his second lap as Aiden Norman goes purple, 1:13.36, the defending champion, chasing Noah Belleville up the S's, 4:1.628, your top 3. How about Estes in third? Almost 3 seconds ahead of Seth Watson. Richie Catania in trouble. The 2-4 goes off track. The Central Floridian coming into turn number 1. Losing all sorts of control of his race car, comes in way too hot. Matt Kent in that super cool 31. Kent, the pitcher for the Fubon Guardians in the Taiwanese Baseball League. I love saying that because it sounds the most made-up thing in the world, but it absolutely isn't. Kent sits 11th right now behind Virginian Tommy Withers as Mama Vols has entered the chat. What's going on, Mama Vols? Jimmy Kerr, Josh Garrison going off the racetrack. There goes the 18. He's gone for a spin. JK3. Jimmy Kerr in that 75 car survives. Let's see what happened to Kerr. Right to the inside of Honeybrink. Nothing. I'm sorry, not Honeybrink. Goodness, who's in the 18? Josh Garrison. John Honeybrink normally rocks that Interstate Batteries car. But there you can see Garrison's already gone for a spin. And again, Richie Catania just falling off the track all by himself. Coming in way too hot. Bama Trama saying, so glad I got to see Terry at Darlington. That's true. Terry Radford came to say hi over at the Darlington Raceway on Sunday. A lot of these drivers were actually there. Toby Estes was part of that ARCS weekend over there, as was Seth Wansing in the number 9. We missed Briley Wright, Tommy Andrews, unfortunately, but Tommy Withers in the number 6, he was a part of that ARCS weekend here at Darlington. Also, shout out to Richie's younger brother, Tristan Catania, in the Ally Chevrolet. He was a part of that Darlington weekend. Belleville and Norman doing battle at the front, 41 to the inside, 6-2 to the outside, up the S's once again. Toby Estes watching all of this unfold. You can see Belleville's had the fender just kicked in. Big blink by Noah Belleville. Aiden Norman now following him down the back straight. Both of them have a big dent on the right front fender. You can see Toby Estes braking before all of them. 4-1, 6-2, 8 once again into what they call the bus stop, then the carousel, and the straight down to the final 2 corners. Chevy Dodge, Chevy, your top 3. Further on back, Jimmy Kerr III, now fighting with John Honeybrink in that 2-0 car. Kerr stays chasing Honeybrink. Tommy Withers up ahead in that number 6, up 6 places from where he started. Big Mark Martin fan showing the love in that Valvoline Taurus up into the S's. I think Mark Martin may have won a race here in the 90s as well. We know Tony Stewart has. Seth Wansing in the Midwest Barbecue 213simware.com Chevy, always with the chrome rims as well. He's got style, this kid. And the pride of Kansas City, coming off the carousel down the straight into the final 2 corners, showing his appreciation for smoke. You know, he was texting me earlier today. Seth was actually texting me, asking, hey, or saying, I think I'm going to go with a smoked paint scheme. He said, and you just wanted to rock a little Tony Stewart today. So there he is, in his very own tribute to Tony Stewart. Talking about retired drivers, or almost retired drivers, how about another one of those Bluegrass Bandits, Briley Wright? Big Kevin Harvick fan in the 2.9's going to kick the tail out into turn number 1, but he's going to keep it moving in the right direction. The 2.9 goes forward. Through the S's, around the trees and down the back straight. They've been racing here really since the 40s, although they used the public streets of Watkins Glen. Briley Wright really curb hopping through that bus stop. Let's keep the camera here for a moment and just check out their Season 4 champion Thomas Andrews taking a more gentle ride through the bus stop. There is 7th, 8th, and 9th. Tommy Withers, John Honeybrink, Tristan Catania, the rest of the pack. There's Richie Catania, Tristan's older brother. He's chasing down Josh Garrison in that 18. Coming into this semifinal, there's the gap Aiden Norman has on Jeff No, who is not in tonight's race. It's still not mathematically over with Jeff No not being in tonight's race, although Aiden Norman with a finish may just clinch the championship here. He would be the first TNT driver to win 2 straight championships. Seasons 1 and 3 going to Tom Sears. Seasons 2 going to Mauro Garza. Season 4, as we just mentioned, going to Tom Andrews. Last season, the 5th edition of Thursday Night Thunder went to this man, Aiden Norman. And with the performance he's put in these 7 laps out of the 50 so far, he may just very well be our Season 6 champion. But that's no reason anybody can't go up there and try and knock on his door. Toby Estes has gotten around Noah Belleville for the 2nd spot, and he's left Noah for 1.2 seconds. And I'll say these Bluegrass Bandits have made a massive improvement in their racing. Let's go to Tommy Withers here for a moment, who's just had incident. He's fallen off the racetrack. This is at the exit of the bus stop. Withers just giving it too much throttle. He says hello to the guardrail on the inside. See what that looks like. And Withers back at it again from the 9th spot, still up 4 places from where he started. Tristan Catania in the 48, now rocking the 7th position, the New Jersey pilot, behind Thomas Andrews, the Season 4 champion. But they're separated by 13 seconds. There's Andrews on an island by himself. The MGD TNT Chevrolet IMP sitting in the 6th position. And Briley Bright rounding out the top 5. There's Andrews in the distance, and Bright in his beloved Kevin Harvick 29 car, sitting in 5th. 7.5 seconds behind Seth Wansing, who's 7.5 seconds behind Noah Belleville, who's fallen off the pace to Toby Estes. But Estes still in a class of his own in 2nd. But how about this guy right here, Aiden Norman, trying to break the single-season win record. It stands at 7. He's going for 8 wins if he can win this week and next week at the final at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, the newly configured Atlanta Motor Speedway, mind you, not the one that these cars are used to. That's going to be a thriller. Don't miss that one. Norman still leads. Withers now behind Kent. Here's the battle for 9th. Kent with a blink. Withers behind him. Kent still hasn't resurfaced. There is car 31 down the back straight. Tommy Withers behind him in that 6. Withers will follow diligently into the bus stop. A little bit of damage from the guardrail, but he's still moving in the right direction. Now chasing down Kent as you see Jimmy Kerr in the 7.5. He's sandwiched between Richie Catania, who finds himself in 13th. At the back, there goes Garrison with a tail whip. He's going to hit the guardrail. Almost gets into Richie Catania, and Josh Garrison really comes across that guardrail. And now he's got substantial damage on the 1.8. Further up ahead, Catania only ahead of Kent by 0.6 of a second. Tommy Withers now trailing, trying to snake down the front straight to avoid John Honeybrink's attack on him. Honeybrink looks like he's picked up a knock in the right front corner of that race car. Matt Kent all over the back end of Catania. This is the battle for 7th. Love that shot of the bus stop. Josh Garrison might have crashed again. Let's see what's happened to the interstate car this time. This time he's really gone around, but how about that? for a glove save. Spins it. And look at, in reverse. And he gives it a little bit of a touch there. But for the most part, kept it clean. Check this out. Well, he's already crashed here. Let's see if we can get back with Garrison going up the hill. He's really gone around at this point now. All right, let's try this one again. Well, that's Garrison wrecking the car out of the exit of the carousel on the lap prior. Looks like Richie Catania also went around. No, just went way too hot on the exit of the second to last corner. Garrison might have gone around again. Let's go to some live pictures. He's on his way into the pits, and he might have just had it. Oh, this time, oh, wow. Really hard, right in front of race leader Aiden Norman. And he's going to bring it down to the pits for some repairs. All right, check this out. Yeah, that one definitely hurts. So Garrison's going to come down to get that race car fixed. Aiden Norman continues to lead as he just jumps right through that bus stop. Catania might have gone off track at the same time. How about another look here? Takes a heavy leap. It looks like he might have just lost a little bit of concentration out of the carousel as well. Yeah, he just kind of went straight on there. But saved it. You definitely saw the wiggle. This is Jimmy Kerr III getting around Matt Kent. And passing him again. And that's Kent just blinking through the order there. Honeybrink and Catania to fight. But this time, Catania the older, Richie, in the 2-4 DuPont Chevy, holding off the 2-0 Home Depot Chevrolet. Josh Garrison looks like he might have just decided to put this one to bed here. We'll check in just a moment. Aiden Norman leading Toby Estes by 6 seconds. Noah Belleville 2.6 seconds behind him. And the top three really just destroying this field. Seth Wansing 17 seconds behind the top three. 7 seconds on Briley Wright. So all the action really towards the back of the field here. Matt Kent just behind Tommy Withers. Richie Catania now finally breaking away from John Honeybrink, but in the opposite direction. And Richie has gone off again. So the 2-4 will get a move on. Tommy Withers now only 1 second between him and Matt Kent. He's chasing down Tristan Catania quite quickly. Tristan goes off the racetrack, headed right into the carousel section. Now you hear how gentle he has to be with that throttle, trying to get all the acceleration off the corner. Tristan just running at much higher RPMs, you can hear, has the advantage. Even Matt Kent will get around Tommy Withers after that momentary lapse. Kent in the 8th spot now. Catania, Kent, Withers, all up 4 places from where they started. Richie's really gone off the racetrack this time. John Honeybrink briefly went off track. Richie Catania now 3 seconds adrift of the 20 car. Matt Kent all over the back end of Tristan Catania, and now this good S's section will be everything for the 48. Catania with a great entrance through the bus stop. He's gone right through the grass, holding off Matt Kent, now struggling to get around him. Withers also to the inside. Catania has to relinquish the time per the iRacing rules. He does, and he will lose 2 spots, overcooking it into the bus stop. There's Kent getting around him after Catania just goes full sail right into the bus stop. And now Jimmy Kerr looking to get a piece of the New Jersey pilot off the final corner. Catania trying to drift his way through Watkins Glen. It doesn't work like that, Tristan. He's now just trying to hold on. 16 laps into this race, the tires might already be starting to go for some of these cars. Tommy Withers struggling to get acceleration off the first corner, and now Jimmy Kerr the third will be all over the back end of the Virginian. Withers for now holding on to the 8th spot. Both he and Matthew Kent are the race's hardest charger, up 5 places from where they started. Aiden Norman with a 7-second advantage on Toby Estes, who's 3 seconds ahead of Noah Belleville. Nothing's changed, nothing's interesting there. John Honeybrink just trying to stay on the lead lap. Richie Catania now the lucky dog as he puts smoke into the air, locking up the left side tires into the penultimate corner. And these 3 right now making all the waves. Catania now watching Kerr work on Tommy Withers. Let's go on board with the 7-5. Let's not do that. Withers crashes off of turn number 1. And the number 6 Valvoline Ford in deep trouble. Gets on the rumble strip, gives it way too much action with the right foot, and he catches it with the right front. Let's ride on board Withers and check this out. Not the first time he's done that, of course. Withers driving into the carousel. And now look what it's cost him there, Withers. A lap down, sitting in the 10th position with John Honeybrink starting to creep on him. Thomas Andrews might have gone off the track. The number 2 car has some damage. Same mistake, different driver. Thomas Andrews gets on the gas coming off the rumble strips, and he decides to give his race car a heavy mark. The Drip Diecast and Collectibles race facts will tell you. Drivers get 25 to 30 laps on one green flag run. Fuel-wise, that is, if the tires will go that distance, but they do get 3 tire changes in this race. The permanent road course opening in 1956, but again, drivers racing shortly after the Second World War on the streets of Watkins Glen. After a while, the citizens had it, and they said, have your own racetrack. The rest is history. The Formula One World Championship coming here. I think NASCAR's been here since 1992. And the bus stop wasn't always there. I think the bus stop was added a few years later to slow cars going into the carousel. Noah Belleville sitting in 3rd, trying to chase down Richie Catania, not for position, but for a better view on Toby Estes, who's now working on John Honeybrink. Briley Wright now coming up to Seth Wansing. The pride of Kansas City might have to deal with one of those bluegrass bandits. from Greensburg, Kentucky. Toby Estes being the first, Briley Wright being the second. Wansing trying to hold off Wright through this chute section. Out of the carousel, coming into the penultimate corner. Let's go on board with Briley. Wansing now trying to hold off Wright through the S's section. 8/10 between them, the same distance from Richie Catania to John Honeybrink. These two fighting it out for 11th. Tristan Catania is in. He went off racetrack and caught a couple of knocks himself. Oh my, oh, save it, save it. Almost a grand save for Catania. Aiden Norman is not having a fun time trying to dodge some of these cars that are just weaving left and right, but Catania will come in for repairs. Tristan Catania comes to a halt and he can finally breathe. John Honeybrink finally passed by Richie Catania. This is how the Central Floridian did it. Using the 41 as an opportunity. Noah Belleville forcing the 2-0 to make way, and Richie Catania just scoots on by. 9/10's already the gap between them. John Honeybrink, the first car outside the top 10. Catania now on cold tires. Tristan, that is. Let's see how he does in that Ally Chevrolet back up the racetrack. He sits in 12th. Jimmy Kerr going off the track right ahead of Aiden Norman, the race leader, now behind the 7-5, completing lap number 21. The Motorsports Shack 6-2 makes very light work of Kerr as Jimmy makes way for the race leader. Matt Kent, 6/10 ahead of Jimmy Kerr, 11 seconds behind Thomas Andrews. Drivers suddenly spread out right before their green flag pit stop windows will open. Seth Wansing, only 2 seconds ahead of Briley Wright. Over the last 5 laps, Briley might have just fallen off the racetrack. Let's see what the gap is this time around. I'm not sure if Seth Wansing hit another gear or Briley just made a couple mistakes 2 laps in a row. But the 2.9 now struggling to hold on to the 2.5. Catania on Withers, the DuPont Chevrolet coming around the Valvoline Ford out of the carousel. Withers on defense, Catania on offense, fighting for a spot in the top 9. Catania hits the brakes first, tries to open up that inside line. Withers says no. Richie, try again. And the number 6 bravely holds off that 24. They're going to do battle once again down the front straight. Catania trying to get a good draft on the 6. Let's go on board with Richie. Fantastic exit from Tommy Withers. Look at the gap. The Virginian opens up on the Floridian. 2 seconds just out of that first corner. That right there just shows how important corner exit is. Norman with a beautiful job on corner exit. It's put him up so far. Toby Estes, he leaves pit road with a fresh set of tires, but it's only lap 23. These Bluegrass Bandits now going to fight about it. Briley Wright within 7/10 to Toby, but now will the Budweiser Chevy be able to pull away from that good wrench Monte Carlo on cold tires? And I think the answer is yes. Briley Wright just can't match what Toby Estes is bringing to the table. And one Bluegrass Bandit starts to pull away from the other. Richie Catania now chasing down Tommy Withers again. 4 tenths between them. Withers doesn't give it up. And Withers with the hard D trying to fight against Richie Catania's pick and roll. And the 2-4 now has to start the chase once again. Let's go on board with Richie. No way! Richie sends it in insanely deep on Withers, and he just punts him into the bus stop. Here comes John Honeybrink, not fighting for position. We stay green. Tommy Withers just crushed into the bus stop. What is Richie thinking? Oh, Richie, just too much of a full send. You can see he's hard on the brakes by the time he realizes this move's not going to work. Let's ride again on board with Richie. Just. Richie tried. He really tried, but the way he had those hands turned, you can see he was braking incredibly late. Tommy Withers now 5 seconds adrift of Richie Catania, and if Tommy does catch back up to that 2-4, he's going to have a lot of words to say to the Central Floridian. John Honeybrink now trying to get behind Tommy Withers as he's trying to re-enter this bus stop. This time not having to look in his rearview mirror. Oh, he's going to go nice and gentle through the bus stop this time. You can see Honeybrink really caught up to the back of the 6. Season 4 champion Thomas Andrews is in. Jimmy Kerr the third, 19 seconds behind him. But as Andrews will come down to a halt, so will Kerr and so will Belleville. Noah Belleville, the race leader after Aiden Norman came down to the pits on lap 24, so now the chase is on. Down the front straight. Aiden Norman now looking to take the race lead. He had an intense race lead on Noah Belleville when he came down, and Belleville still hasn't come to a halt. Here comes race leader Aiden Norman. And that's all she wrote for Noah Belleville. Norman will now take off with the race lead in quite quick fashion. Toby Estes now into the second position. Belleville still motionless on pit road. And now he will come out an absurd amount of time behind Toby Estes. Over the last 5 laps, obviously, that was the gap there as Norman was down into the pits. But Estes now worked his way up to the second position, almost 6 seconds behind Aiden Norman. Noah Belleville still in third. Seth Wansing will come out of the pits in the 4th position, more than 30 seconds behind Belleville. These top 3 really just putting on a show. It's unbelievable what they can do. 30 seconds the gap now from Belleville to Wansing. Briley Wright will come out of pit road as Seth Wansing's moving at an incredible speed. Wright now comes out behind him. We're halfway in this race, 25 laps to go. There's Aiden Norman coming into turn number 1. Briley Wright is the last car on the lead lap. He's now on the back straight. Norman has just put on a fantastic masterclass this season, and if he does end today's race as a 2-time TNT champion, it's almost certain that it's going to be one of the most dominant seasons ever. But we still have another 23 and a half laps to decide that. Right now, Thomas Andrews and Matthew Kent are trying to decide the 6th position. Toby Estes sandwiched in between. Estes now getting around Andrews without much difficulty into the penultimate corners. And Estes in second, 9 seconds now the gap. There's Matthew Kent, who's now come up on Thomas Andrews, and the gap is shrinking, 1.5 seconds now the difference. Kent trying to catch up to Andrews in that 6. Andrews racing from Weehawken, New Jersey. Matt Kent from Taipei. Kent in the 3-1. Chasing down Andrews. 1.6 seconds now that gap. Incredibly difficult to make your way up through those S's without damaging the car, without losing any sort of control. Drivers now on fresh tires, and they've got temperature in those fresh tires. But again, some drivers only making it to lap 24, so they're really going to have to stretch it and try and conserve on this second stint. Richie Catania goes green, 1:16.04. His younger brother Tristan pitted on lap 19 and was 2.7 seconds slower. And Tristan, well, this is him going off the track earlier, but it looks like Tristan might have just gone through the bus stop here. Oh, yeah, came in at an absurd rate of speed. And again, he's going to have to give up all that time. Older brother Richie, who was just on his fastest lap of the race, there he is, chasing down younger brother Tristan to the tune of almost 3 seconds a lap. But this time it's going to be something horrendous. Tristan having to go through that bus stop and then giving up that time. Last time around, Richie gained 2.6 seconds on younger brother Tristan. This time around, we'll see what happens. Four tenths. Not sure what I was thinking there, but for now, Tristan is safe. 11 seconds the gap. Matt Kent goes green. 1:16.98. And now Thomas Andrews might have to give up his top 5 position. Kent is on the attack. Andrews holding his own. 1.7 seconds now the gap between these two, so it looks like Andrews might have found his footing. Honeybrink went green. 1:16.74, so drivers starting to find speed for sure. Kerr recently falling off the racetrack. Let's see what happened to Jimmy. Richie Catania also doing the same. Look at that, putting 2 wheels on the grass. Not sure what Richie's game is. Oh, he made a little bit of contact with the guardrail there. Let's see what happened to JK3. Might have just taken it wide on the penultimate corner. And he did. Love seeing that 2-4 just glide along the racetrack. Richie does a great job wheeling that thing around. Thomas Andrews doing a fantastic job holding on to 5th at the moment. Matt Kent might have just put his brief attack on pause as Noah Belleville has come to overtake car 31. Again, not for position. Belleville to the right-hand side of Matt Kent, and he'll have the line going into the bus stop. Belleville 10 seconds behind Toby Estes, who's 12 seconds behind Aiden Norman. That is quite unbelievable, but it's been that kind of a season. And only 4 cars now left on the lead lap. Seth Wansing, the 4th of those cars left on the lead lap. Just coming out of the S's. Aiden Norman just coming out of turn number 1. And Miss Moneypenny cheering for Aiden Norman, who, again, just putting on one of the more dominant performances this season. And I know that's hard to believe, given that he's done a fantastic job in the points. And there he is, leading by, I think, 80-some digits coming into this race. Not mathematically over yet. The magic number will be, I believe, 53 for Aiden Norman. But still a podium to fight for. Jeff No, with 554 points, only has a 5-point advantage on Thomas Andrews. Andrews currently running in the 5th position in this race. Riley Wright and John Honeybrink now swapping spots. This is the battle for 10th. There's Briley and John probably just swapping some paint through the last 2 corners. Briley looks like he might have had the advantage this time. Honeybrink with a wide exit out of the corner. He's going to chase down Briley through the S's, but can he make it work? And it looks like Wright has the relative advantage on Honeybrink. Look at him just jumping over those curves. John Honeybrink now 4 seconds behind Briley Wright. There's Thomas Andrews and Matt Kent at it again. The 31 now chasing down that 2 up the S's. 5th place at stake. Andrews trying to hold off Matt Kent through that bus stop. John Honeybrink looks like he might have gotten into a spot of trouble, and some big trouble for the 2-0. A little too much throttle coming off the corner. Yes, sir. And right into those blue barriers. Again, Aiden Norman just happens to be there when the lap traffic gets in a wreck. Norman has kept his car for the most part clean, and he has a 13-second gap on Toby Estes. Matt Kent still chasing down Thomas Andrews with 16 laps to go this time by. Looks like Kent would have him that time, but it wouldn't be so. So ginger through those corners. You can hear these drivers not wanting to make any sort of mistake, especially Thomas Andrews, knowing that he's only now got a 1-second gap back to the pitcher from Fubong. Well, the American pitcher, I should say, pitching in the Taiwanese Baseball League for the Fubong Guardians. Four-tenths now the gap. Tommy Withers went green, as did Jimmy Kerr. They've both gone green, running their personal bests of the race so far. Seth Wansing might have gotten into a bit of trouble. He goes off the racetrack. Aiden Norman now chasing him down, looking to leave only 3 cars on the lead lap. And there's second place. And there's third. Quite the gap. Matt Kent still on Thomas Andrews, and these two are going to give us a show in these last 15 laps. Andrews rocking on Kent. 14 to go. Next time by. Aiden Norman with a 15-second gap. Tommy Withers ahead in that number 6 Valvoline Ford. He's only 3 seconds off of Briley Wright. This is the gap over the last 5 laps. Briley quicker than Catania and quicker than Withers. 9 seconds is the gap. Briley trying to work Richie Catania for the 8th position, and Richie has finally caught up to younger brother Tristan. Is there going to be any sort of defense from one Catania to the other? The 4-8 looks to hold off the 2-4 into turn 1. Catania squarely under the brakes. Older Catania trying to take down younger Catania. Here comes Seth Wansing trying to get around the both of them. Richie will give Seth space. Will Tristan do the same? Tristan will do the same, and now Ricardo will go back to work in that 2-4. That bus stop, really a point of contention for Tristan Catania. He almost spills it right in front of Richie coming off of that corner. Tristan really trying to hold the throttle on those rumble strips, and it just doesn't work out for him. Richie now behind him, even though he's sliding the car out of the second to last corner. Richie had his brother right on the tip of his race car. He slid again. This time he's got to squeeze the brakes hard, and all that work now undone. Richie Catania again 3 seconds behind younger brother Tristan, and he's got 13 and a half more laps to get it done. 3.6 seconds now the gap. Aiden Norman now trying to put Briley Wright another lap down. Seth Wansing trying to stay on that lead lap. And you know, all the top 5 drivers just hoping a yellow comes out in these last lucky 13 laps. Thomas Andrews, 9/10 of a second, still ahead on Matt Kent. Seth Wansing might have just tagged the wall. Nope, that is earlier out of the second to last corner. Richie now 3.2 seconds behind younger brother Tristan. A dozen laps remain. Matt Kent still working on Thomas Andrews, but this is the first time in 7 laps the gap has been greater than 1 second between them. Tristan is in and will give no fight to older brother Ricardo, who now is in the 7th spot, up 3 places from where he started. He's going to go off the track again. And Kent now back within 1 second to Season 4 champion Thomas Andrews. A dozen laps now remain. Drivers have to make one more pit stop to go to the end. It will be a 2-stop race no matter what. How about Jimmy Kerr the third getting squirrely off that last corner? And it looks like he's regained control of his 7.5 Chevrolet through the S's. Matt Kent has finally gotten through Thomas Andrews after laps and laps of trying. The 31 Oreo Chevy gets around the MGD Chevrolet. of Thomas Andrews. Let's check out the pass. Andrews goes way too wide out of turn number 1. And Matt Kent now in 5th. Briley Wright getting around Richie Catania. This is for the 7th position. These are the points standings coming into the semifinal. Dustin Painter not in tonight's race. I believe he's in North Wilkesboro right now. And Briley only 11 points behind Dustin coming into this race. So he's going to head into the final race quite late. How about Suicideways, or Cody Riggs as you might know him, saying, I made it almost all season without missing a race, but here we are. Cody Riggs, 9th into the points. Tommy Withers, 23 points behind you, Cody. One more race to go. Atlanta Motor Speedway next Thursday right here, Rick James TV. We'll see what happens and how these points filter through. 10 laps to go. Toby Estes, only 2.3 seconds ahead of Noah Belleville. There's the gap over the last 5 laps. That Bluegrass Bandit holding on to the silver medal position for so long, but Noah Belleville now within 2 seconds. And look at the time that Belleville has just been gaining on Estes. Suicideways says, well, there go my championship hopes. Good news, Cody. You didn't have any championship hopes for quite a few weeks. That is terribly mean. I'm sorry. Estes. His gap now within 2 seconds as Belleville gained more than 1 second on the Greensburg, Kentucky native last time around. Aiden Norman will now give us 9 when he crosses the line. Matt Kent with plenty of gap over Thomas Andrews. Richie Catania chasing down Briley Wright, so we go from one Bluegrass Bandit to another. The 2-9 of Catania trying to hold off the 2-4. Nope, I have that backwards. Catania's in the 2-4, Wright's in the 2-9. These guys racing for 7th. Richie's gotten right up to the back end of Briley. 1 second, the difference between them. Aiden Norman about to give us 8 laps to go. And these guys trying to fight and scrounge for every point they can. Briley sitting 5th in the standings. He's only got an 8-point gap back to Ryan Pinnell, who's not in tonight's race. Dustin Painter also not in tonight's race. Thomas Andrews, the next driver ahead. Richie Catania getting really loose out of the last corner. Just giving it a little too much fun with the right foot. And Briley now has 7th all to himself. Tristan Catania's had a big incident right ahead of Matthew Kent. Tristan gets going again. He's struggling to put the power down in the 48. Matt Kent now behind Tristan in that 4-8. Tristan will stay out of the way of the 3-1, and he will come down into the pits to get that race car repaired. Let's see what happened. What in the world is he doing all the way out there? And it cost him big time. That's after Kerr passed him for the 10th position. And this is Tristan going off. Oof. Hard hit for the 48. So he's going to get repaired. Richie Catania goes way off the racetrack in pursuit of Briley Wright. 6 laps to go next time by. Toby Estes, Noah Belleville. Now a second separates them. Belleville coming into this race 23rd in the point standings with his part-time appearances. Noah getting a win at the Milwaukee Mile. He's had a few podiums as well. I mean, with his starts, he's got an average finish of 4th. And here he is in the 3rd position battling one of those Bluegrass Bandits. But Toby Estes breaking the lead out to 1.5 seconds, coming to 6 laps to go. And Seth Wansing just trying to stay on the lead lap in his Midwest Barbecue 213simware.com Chevy. And there's race leader Aiden Norman trying to hunt him down. 6 to go this time by. Is Norman saving gas? Aiden Norman on a fuel-saving strategy. You just heard the engine cut off. Norman on a fuel-saving strategy. He hasn't pitted since lap 24. Is he going to try and go the rest of the race without making a pit stop? Have another listen. Well, he has to stay on the accelerator up the hill, but going into the bus stop, we'll listen and see if he just cuts off the throttle. Just puts the clutch in, and he rolls through the corners. I don't know if he's been doing that all race long, but Norman possibly trying to make this race on one stop. He's got a 15-second gap back to Toby Estes. Is Toby doing the same? No. Estes, who pitted 2 laps before Aiden Norman, and almost wrecking the race car there. Trying to hold off Noah Belleville, who's within 7/10. And as the saying goes, it's one thing to catch him, quite another to pass him. Toby Estes is coming into the pits. He cannot make it on fuel. Rather than fight it out with Noah Belleville, Estes is in. Norman on a fuel-saving strategy. It's so not over yet. Jimmy Kerr III goes off the track. He'll come back on without any incident. Briley Wright in 7th. On an island by himself. Matt Kent 4.5 seconds ahead of Thomas Andrews. Seth Wansing sees race leader Aiden Norman in the distance, and he just wants to finish on the lead lap. It's been an incident-free race for Wansing after he smacked the guardrail coming out of the S's. He's kept his nose clean since then, and with 4 laps to go for Wansing, he's just got to keep it pointed in the right direction. He'll end up where he wants to be. Richie Catania has had a huge crash. What happened here? Oof. And, oh, wow, Richie. And a 3rd for good measure? No. All right, Richie, let's see this. How about that for a slam from Richie Catania? He's going to come down, get his race car repaired, drive through his younger brother, Tristan. Pinell Racing with a meme of the season. Wake up. TNT just turned into a fuel strategy race. Well, let's see if Aiden's still just... Yeah, he still couldn't listen to that silence. Oh, this time he decides to keep the throttle in. Let's see if he puts the clutch in, going through one. He does. You can hear him shifting gingerly. 13 seconds now, the gap between these drivers, with 2 laps to go next time by. Norman has been managing the gap expertly this last time around. Noah Belleville catches up with 1.7 seconds, and the math is simple. Noah Belleville will not get there in time at this rate. His only hope is for Norman to run out of fuel, and really, Aiden Norman can run out of fuel going through the penultimate corners. He still might crawl to the finish. Norman, 13 seconds of a gap on Noah Belleville. Thomas Andrews looks like he won't catch up to Matt Kent without any sort of help. Jimmy Kerr, the third, off the racetrack again. It's been that kind of day for Jimmy, although he might finish with a top 10 if he keeps his wits about him. Catania's repaired his race car and chasing down Kerr at a quick rate, but again, with only 2 laps remaining, you just don't know. 12 seconds, now the gap. Aiden Norman, have a listen. And he's got to remain mistake-free through all of this, mind you. There's Noah Belleville now coming into turn number 1. Listen to the difference. And it's a high-speed game of chicken at this point. If Norman pits, Belleville then has to try and go the distance, because Toby Estes is only 30 seconds behind Noah Belleville. So if Belleville pits, he will lose control of the race. It's Norman's race, literally, to lose here, but he doesn't look like he's slowing down anytime soon, although he is kicking the tail out. The white flag will be out this time by, and it'll be the last 2.45 miles of the night for Aiden Norman. And if he doesn't run out of fuel by the time he comes back to this spot here, he's going to be your Thursday Night Thunder champion. He's on the throttle now. He just might have the fuel to do it. Have a listen. Getting really squirrely there. He scares everybody. 10 seconds now, the gap. Noah Belleville, if he's trying to preserve that gas, he's doing a fine job of it. There's Seth Wansing up ahead, who doesn't have to worry about finishing a lap down. Norman really attacking the rumble strips. Does he know he's going to run out of fuel? He's put the clutch in. Out of carousel, and you really believe he could coast from here. It will be 7 wins this season for Aiden Norman, and the hits keep on coming. The native of Dobson, North Carolina, will finish with a flourish, and the cherry on top is that Aiden Norman will be your Season 6 TNT champion. And he will burn it down in celebration. Aiden Norman. Two-time Thursday Night Thunder champion. And he may have just run out of fuel. Might be the case. In any case, Norman is your race winner. Norman is your Season 6 champion. We're going to get Aiden, Noah Belleville, and Toby Estes in the booth. And we're going to have podium interviews, fans. Don't go anywhere. On the podium now with our top three, starting with one of those Bluegrass Bandits, one Toby Estes in that number 8 Bud Chevy. Toby, bronze medal in the semifinal tonight. Did you think you were going to be able to pull that off?
Yeah, I was shooting for a P3, P2 at best. I knew I wasn't going to be able to win it. Aiden's been pretty solid, so yeah. But it's good to have Bluegrass Bandits in here. But you know, it is what it is. It was fun either way. But fun racetrack, fun car. So I mean, can't go wrong with that combo.
Congratulations on that third place. And speaking of Bluegrass Bandits, Briley Wright will have third position in the points headed into next week's final at Atlanta.
Yeah, that's big. I'm happy for him. He's been putting in a lot of work in every series, especially TNT. He enjoys the hell out of TNT. So I mean, hey, hats off to him. I hope he can sneak on up the ladder there.
We'll see you next week, Toby.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Tonight's silver medalist Noah Belleville, a man of very few appearances in TNT, but a silver medal tonight. Noah, what more did you need to bring to the table to be able to catch Aiden?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think there was any more that I could bring to the table. He was pretty quick, but pretty straightforward race. They set the fuel perfectly to where you had to save to make it on a one stop. So it made for a strategic race. And my goal was to pit on lap 25, and I made it there. And Aiden had to pit on lap 24. So I was hoping he'd run out of fuel. I started saving early, and that was kind of my strategy I played. Um, And I figured with how fast he was running and with the fact that he had to pit a lap early, he was probably going to run out with a couple laps to go or 1 lap to go. But he didn't. He ran out turn one right after he ran past the checkered. So 1 more lap probably could have got him. But hey, it was still a pretty good race. P2, I'll take it.
P2, and congratulations if we don't see you for the rest of the season, Noah. But great job on your second place finish tonight.
Yep, thanks.
And now to the race winner, 7 victories this season, and it's now official heading into next week's race. Aiden Norman, you are the Season 6 Thursday Night Thunder champion, then the first back-to-back TNT champion. It's been a fantastic season, but we're not done yet. Can you break the record, get that 8th win next week at Atlanta, the new Atlanta?
Well, I mean, we're gonna try. I've only done 1 race at New Atlanta, but I won it, and that was in our ARC's Ignition series, so that might be a good sign. It could end up being a curse, who knows? But now that the championship's wrapped up, I mean, I really don't have anything to lose, so you're just gonna see me kind of go balls to the wall.
We'll see what happens in 7 nights' time. Aiden, congratulations again on the win.
All right, thank you, Rick.
Fans at home, yet another chapter of TNT is in the books. One more final 16th story to write before we close the book on season number 6. And I know you're going to join us for that next week right here on Rick James TV, 8:40 p.m. Eastern for the season finale at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. And until that next race, everybody, please stay safe. Do take